Educating, informing, serving. Fact TV, keeping government honest.
All right, town boards and officials. Sherry?
Okay. So you did receive a copy of the proposal that we received from the engineer that looked at the meeting house.
Okay.
I forwarded that on to, I believe, David and Darlene. So we met Tuesday night and Don joined us. And the committees was in agreement that we would like to proceed with that in terms of seeking requests for proposals. And what we're recommending that we do is, this plan is a variation on Don's idea. But as Don suggested to us last night, it looks like it's a really good, durable, long-term fix for the building. So we're pretty pleased with it. What's that?
Do we have an idea how much that'll cost?
We really don't.
She didn't give an estimate as to what it might.
Well, she wouldn't. I mean, that's not the role
No, I
of
understand.
the structural engineer. But what we're thinking we want to do is, she's described basically a variety of hardware, plate type things and other attachments to go at the various joints, and adding a support, what was that called, Don? A cross something?
Two
On either side.
Two vertical members,
Two
kind of like
verticals.
a couple extra king posts.
On either side of each king post, especially the ones that are under stress. So she laid out in the email that I forwarded on to you, David, her recommendations for that and what she would prioritize doing. And what we're thinking is that we would want to separate out the hardware that she's outlining for it, and Don is going to do some research and pricing out on that, and then we would put out a request for the labor to install that. And put that request out to a couple of builders in the area that we would know of. I don't see it as anything that we need to call in Jonathan Jessup for, but we could put it out to other competent, insured, capable area builders that we know of. So that's our plan at this point, and I guess we would need we're not looking to spend any money right now. We're looking to put out a proposal request, so I don't know if we need the board's approval to do that, or if we...
Probably wouldn't hurt to have it.
Right, that's what I figured. And Don will also go ahead to get going on the permit paperwork and start pricing on that hardware. Your question about how much it might run, you know, I would love to have that number right now. I don't know, but I'm pretty confident that with the funds that are currently available, we should be able to cover this, which would end the stabilization efforts. So that's sort of the heavy lifting will be over. We're thrilled with that. So I don't know, do you want to?
Why would we separate out getting the hardware from the person doing it?
There'll be more field measurements involved in some of the same brackets may have to have more width than others.
It's all prefab stuff that we'd have to get, so we'd have to have a welder or somebody that does
So
things
have to
like that.
fabricate them each
It's a
one.
combination.
Yes.
It's a combination of some prefab and some custom made hardware.
It's been used in all the projects I've dealt with recently, too much miscommunication. I'd like to have control, we'll make sure we're getting the right hardware on the job.
All right. Do we have a motion to go ahead with that, to get proposals and check out what the,
I'll make that motion.
alright. I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you. So, we'll start putting out requests for proposals
Get them
from,
for us,
and if there are any builders that you would recommend that we include in that list, let me know.
the idea might be also just to let them know to give it a longer window of doing it in case they didn't want to do it in the winter here.
Sure.
So, you know, so their price would be good for 6 months, 8 months, something like that, instead of a short
Right.
2 or 3 months.
So with that, thinking ahead to the, getting ready for town meeting, the committee agreed that now that this stabilization work is over with, we're gonna start looking at, you know, grants and matching funds and whatnot to start going after some interior work, but we feel like, as I just said, the heavy lifting is over. What we would like to do is return to being a line item in the town budget if possible, as opposed to a separate article on the town meeting report, warrant, etc. And the request amount that we would like to put in for that budget request would be $2,500. I think we were pretty regularly 3,000 on an annual basis before we went into this big project.
Would any of that 2,500 go to repaying the housing bond?
We don't have a plan at this point, but that will be in a place to start being able to look at and think about that once we get this stabilization piece finished.
I thought that when we had that meeting with Steve, the plan was to pay $5,000 a year for 4 years to get that paid off.
That's what we were.
And I think they paid just $5,000 on that.
That what was back.
Yeah.
I can't, I don't know if I'm supposed to hear what you're
Oh,
saying,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I can't
no.
hear any of that.
Oh,
Sorry. What I was saying is when we had the meeting with Steve Fine, the plan was to pay $5,000 a year for 4 years.
I don't remember that being a plan that was put forth to us. My understanding was that we paid the first 5,000 and we were asked to give you guys a plan as of December 1st, almost a year ago. And at that point, we submitted a letter saying we wanted an extension on that because we still needed the money to finish the stabilization work, and we never had any kind of a formal response from the board with regards to that letter.
I seem to remember at that meeting that it was standard, we were supposed to do the 5,000
We can check,
until we got it paid off.
that was my understanding. We can check back in the minutes to see what that says.
Yep, well then, I don't understand why we were needing to send a letter saying what our plan was by December 1st, if that was the plan. So that's my
Like I said,
recollection.
it could be that I'm mistaken. We can check the minutes.
And both were discussed, but at the end, I know the December 1st letter was a requirement, and we sent you a letter prior to December 1st addressing
Yes.
the issue.
I think that December 1st deadline was to see how we were going to proceed paying it back, how we were going to raise the money to do that. Instead of having it come out of the,
I don't have that recollection.
Okay. So, at this point, I think the budget committee can put that as a line item in the budget for 2,500. We might want to think on what we're going to do about the 15,000 there that the housing trust needs there. So whether we ask for more money or what we do with that. That is more of the budget committee?
Well, that wouldn't be up to the select board to ask for more money. That would be up to the meeting house, I would think,
Well,
to figure
yeah.
out how to pay that back.
Yes, I mean, if they need to ask for an additional amount to be on top of the 2,500 for the,
You can check those minutes and find out
sure.
what's in there.
We can bring that up next month, because we won't have to have it finalized by then, so. Anything else, Sharon?
Yeah, one other thing. So there was also a information Darlene had sent on to me earlier about a grant, a fully funded grant for historic site signs, markers. And we talked about that at the meeting the other night. We would like to pursue that. I haven't followed up on it yet, so I don't know what's required. But one of the things that I do know is that there is a statement about permission from the owner of the property. And in thinking about putting a marker, historic site marker out for the meeting house, our preference really would be to get it out on Route 35, which would be putting it on the Lavoie property or in the vicinity of that corner. So two things on that. One would be right now, and I don't know if it's actively being used, but there is a very falling apart trash box there at the corner of Route 35 and Meeting House Road that has trash spilling out of it. It's pretty ugly, pretty unsightly. I don't know if that's something that we can get cleaned up. Does anybody know if that's actively being used?
I think I've seen that be used. I don't know, I'm not 100% sure whose
Yeah.
it is.
And is it something that Triple T picks up every week with trash?
Yeah, I've seen bags out there. It's somebody up on Meeting House Road.
Okay.
I'm sure, I thought it was up down on Mill Hill.
Maybe.
I don't know, but it's a pretty unsightly corner. And so anyway, I wanted to point that out and see if anything could be done about that. And also then with that, it brought us back to the conversation that we had had. I had had a while back with Brian Lavoie about the idea of clearing a bunch of trees off of a corner of that piece of property that they have there that would open up a view of the meeting house as you're coming around the corner there. So I think we would be interested in pursuing that again. Obviously, I would start with Brian to see if it's still something he'd be interested in. But as I recall, and I went back and dug up an email exchange that he and I had earlier today to refresh my memory, and he was, at that point, was saying, if the town cleared that land, anybody that did it could have the wood, but he would then keep it clear after that. Again, I'd have to go back and confirm that he's still interested in that, but I know they're very interested and supportive of the building and would like to see, you know, more, I think, visibility and
Would that be
such.
something we could probably clear that out?
Okay,
So if, you know, he agrees to it, it'd probably be good to have something in writing from him.
oh, sure, yep. Excellent. Great, so I will get in touch with Brian and Patty and see if they're still good with that and get some details and connect with Matt around, you know, I don't know, where the marker is, we know where the line is, where we could do that, and then think about where we would put the marker, because if we put it there, we'll need to have a letter signed with his permission. I have to just confirm that the marker can go on property other than where the building is, because it really wouldn't be that noticeable if it's up right by the bulletin board. We'd rather see it on Route 35.
Now, what kind of a sign would it be? I know there is.
I don't know, but you know, it's a grant program. The father of this woman from the foundation was very much about wanting to promote marking all of the historic register places around the country, and so I don't know if they have a sign design that they provide, or if they allow you any kind of, you know, leeway in it. I've seen a variety of, you know, sort of metallic imprinted signs around places like that. I'm expecting something like that, but I don't know the details yet.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
That will do it.
Do you have a motion for Matt to be able to clear the trees if she gets landowner permission, so we don't have to
so you can start on it when you
Sure,
have a
I
chance?
can do that. Can you make a
Yeah,
motion?
thank you.
I do, I'll make that motion that when Matt and Eugene have some available time.
All right, I will second that. All those in favor? Aye.
Great,
And
thanks.
did you say the homeowner wanted the wood or didn't want the wood?
My recollection was that he said whoever took it down could have it.
Okay.
I don't think he wanted it, but he would also, at that point, he was saying he would keep it clear going forward.
Maybe if the town takes it down, we can just store the wood in case someone in town needs firewood this winter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or check with Grafton Cares to see if anybody needs, because they're
Yeah.
always getting calls on that.
That's fine.
We have some of that.
Were you
We
gonna
still have some out there, don't we?
Yeah, we got one more
write
that's
the donation that the,
Oh,
All right, Tom?
just,
What's in the
Janet
fifty?
just reminded me of one other thing. The Historic Society did receive a generous donation, $5,000 to the Historic Society for the Meeting House. So that's gonna give us a big boost as we start looking at how to move forward on interior work.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah, we're pretty pleased.
All right. Tom, boards and officials?
Yeah, cemetery commission meeting on Wednesday, December 24th. I think the only thing we're gonna do is approve an annual budget figure, not
December 24th.
Christmas
Eve?
Did I see 24th? I meant the brain meant to say the 4th.
you're really committed.
No, he
No.
needs to be committed.
Yeah, I'm losing little connections in my brain.
That's it?
Yeah.
Jen?
Yeah, so I have two. This is for the budget committee. We were meeting the other night and we had some questions about the equipment fund. We need to reimburse the fund, the
For the truck.
23 for the F-550. And we were wondering if the board wanted to increase the fund 39,000 a year until we get it paid back for that truck. And that would bring it up to, I think it's 85 right now for that particular truck. Every year goes into the thing. So it would bring it up to like 12.4 instead of trying to do it all at once.
All at once. Now, you said how much?
39.
3,900.
Yeah, not 39.
I was thinking 39,000.
No.
That's
3,900.
fine.
That's what we're thinking.
Yeah.
We figured if we could do it slowly over several years, it would be less of a tax burden if we did it all in one big chunk.
Yep, I think that's a reasonable idea.
And then another thing, is if you approve that, maybe we could do some fund policy so that in the future years, we don't have to be doing this over again.
Okay.
So, and then we were talking about the Freightliner, and the repairs in it the last 2 years have been about 20,000. And we were just wondering if you wanted to stay on that schedule that it is on, and that's not gonna be replaced until, I believe, 2022, or start thinking about trying to find a good one now. Not now, but if one comes up.
Sooner
with-
than 2022.
Yeah.
So that we don't have to keep putting about $10,000 a year into it.
What do you think the condition of it is, Matt?
there. Not, it's about half of what it should be.
How long has the town had that truck?
3
3-4 years now?
or 4 years.
And you're putting 10 grand a year into it?
Yeah. Like putting a Band-Aid on a cut artery.
Yeah, but the truck ain't that old.
I know,
So you're gonna buy another used one and put 10 grand again into it every year? It seems kinda high.
it does seem very high. We're not sure yet exactly what we want to do.
you know, we're worried about the tax burden, but yet it's just throwing money away, so.
And that's the other question, if, you know, we should be looking at setting prices for new ones. Not right away, but, you know, seeing the pros and cons of everything.
It certainly wouldn't hurt to look at the pros and cons and the price differences
Yeah,
of them. Just know that they cost
a lot,
a lot.
yeah.
How old was that truck when we bought it, do you know?
5 years, 6
5
years
years.
old.
What were the fixes that were done on it this year?
A lot of them were done last spring. They did a great job on it. They did the, bunch of little things.
What you know? It's a big one. We don't need to make a decision on that tonight, but that was something that,
We can
But-
certainly look into it there, which is
Yeah,
going to be the best.
it's a lot of money either which way you go, but.
Either way you go.
So, and then our other question was about the cemetery commission, how much they wanted to put into the budget, and then the emergency preparedness fund. I don't know who's in charge of that.
Tim Stevenson heads that one up.
Maybe I'll send an
Emergency
email,
committee, yeah.
ask them. I think that was all.
I think so.
Well, the cemetery will get you the figure after the December meeting, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, that's all on that one.
So
Yeah,
do
we're
you
trying to
need,
get everything finalized so that we can meet with the select board one more time.
do we need a motion for the 3,900 or, I don't think we do.
No,
I don't think we need it.
We would just approve it
we would
when we
just
do the
approve it,
budget.
Yeah.
yeah. Now, the planning commission. I received a email from Grafton's manager, or Bill, and he sent me all the paperwork on the new plan that they have going forward, that they're going to be going over the 12th of December. And I forward that to Ivor and Tim, because it had all the attachments with it and everything, so I just thought I'd bring that up.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, any neighboring town,
Yeah.
when they have to go through their plan, has to notify all the
yeah,
all the
So,
towns that are attached.
just thought I'd bring that.
Do we usually attend that, or that's just as a courtesy?
I think it's just required by law that you.
They
notify
did
them.
ask if, you know, people wanted to attend, they
Yeah,
could.
certainly you can and have input on it, but I think it's a requirement that
They
any
send it out,
adjoining
yeah,
town has to be notified. when
Yeah.
they-
see if they have any problems with it or anything.
Jenna, did you say you did forward it on to the other committee members?
Yes, it was late last night, but I did.
What's that?
It was late last night, but I
Okay.
did. So, that's it.
That's it. Town boards and officials.
I'm fine.
Yes, I would like the Board of Selectmen to sign a errors and omission certificate to change the grand list. For 2019, we had a property owned by Veronica Brailsford, and it was purchased by Windmill Hill. And unfortunately made a mistake. The parcel should have gone into the inactive file, and it was still in the active file. So a tax bill was issued, which has been corrected, but this has to show that it's now gone inactive, but I need your approval to do it.
All right, I will make the motion that we sign the errors and omissions list of the grand list.
The question I have is, the property went delinquent, so can I just abate that, or?
It went delinquent because of the clerical error that it was.
Yeah, it was a clerical error, so
And I
it
think
should
they can use
just,
that as a clerical error.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't think
yes.
we need a whole meeting to
No.
do that.
No, not since we just had one.
I just wanted to make it clear.
But it will be abated under clerical errors.
Yeah.
That will be fine.
Yep.
All right, I made the motion, who seconded it?
I'll second that.
You seconded it, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
David?
Yep. Oh, yep. We have an estimate for the replacement of at least one pipe, but it could be more.
Say, who's here?
Goes to Darlene, it has to be lodged in the grand list. She has to sign the bottom too.
Oh, yeah.
So it's to do some repair to the furnace. There's a pipe that's kind of corroded up at the school. It's $690. I think he also just indicated in there maybe some other things that he doesn't anticipate there for it.
And that pipe, what is the urgency of
So I think
repairing that?
there's a chance it'll
Burst?
burst.
Oh, then we should probably
Whatever.
repair it.
Is that reasonable? Yep. All right. I'll make the motion that we repair the piping up there connected to the furnace. So.
Well, wasn't there a pipe that looked through that was on the water heater as well? Or wasn't that on the water
I
heater?
did not notice the water heater.
Okay.
It was just on the furnace.
That was just the one on the furnace? Okay.
So,
So, you want me to have Russell do the work?
have him come in and do the work as soon as he can. Can you get in touch with him? Go over that? All right.
Who seconded? You did?
Sure.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. I will make a motion to go into executive session for two legal issues where premature public knowledge would place the town of Athens at substantial disadvantage. And I'd ask that Danny be in for part of the executive session.
Yeah, add Scott to that.
And we can add Scott too. Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Describe.
Aye. Executive session, no decisions were made in executive session. I will make a motion that I contact the health officer about a concern that we had with an issue, and we'll deal with that more next meeting. Second that.
I'll second that.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. All right, we will move on. Taylor Hill, we've received a petition I'll read it off. We, the voters of the town of Athens, petition the select board of the town of Athens to take over Taylor Hill as a town road. Taylor Hill is a 0.6 mile long and home to 13 houses and families. For reference, the town willingly maintains Herring Hill, which is approximately a 7/10 mile long road and only has 2 houses. For decades, Taylor Hill residents have maintained the road, but due to aging population of the residents, the physical labor required to maintain the road has become extremely difficult. This has become a safety issue for Taylor Hill residents, as the hill must be maintained to ensure emergency response vehicles can reach the homes as necessarily. Accordingly, the residents are petitioning the town to maintain the road as a town road to ensure the safety of the more than 40 individuals, including 2 handicapped persons that live on Taylor Hill. Certainly there's more than the 5% needed for the petition. We will have, it was turned in on the 18th. I'm not sure if that is the date that our clock starts, or if it would be tonight that it would start. But we will have a hearing on that. I will get in contact with the town's attorney, and we will set up a hearing for that. I'll make a motion that we set a hearing and that we don't have to have another meeting to set the date, but we will,
Authorize you to set the date once you find out.
well, no, I will contact both of you about setting the date, and so we don't have to have a special meeting to do that.
Fine.
We will do it by phone or in person, so. Is there a second to that?
Second that motion.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Policy review for the road policy and the public the use of public buildings. I'll make a motion that we table the road policy for now, but the public use policy, I'll make a motion that we accept that policy
As printed.
as the draft was printed here.
I will second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And we will take up the road policy at a different point in time. Roads. Okay.
Everything is going good. Clark's came and got the ledge off the Valley Cemetery Road. And on the one spot on Brookline Road. And everything's going good, getting things fixed up and ready for winter.
How much salt we would use?
I think we've used probably about a straight truckload so far.
Anything else? And all the plows and everything are all good?
Yep.
All right, we'll go on to warrants and mail. Look at that for you down.
Thank you guys very much.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, have a nice evening. You too.
As far as old, like,
Matt, do you want any of these catalogs drawn over? John Deere? And track dates, Elizabeth's job, and Jim.
Yeah, I got that. Extended deadline. Extended deadline.
for the better roads.
Yeah, because they're not done.
Yeah, they just have closing on the cottage on the 29th, and then everybody realizes the 29th is day after Thanksgiving, so. You need it Monday, either Monday or Tuesday.
I haven't been officially out of it.
That's all I want, I just wanted to be
Everybody likes the old ones. It's not in the regional, just
That is-
a bunch of, I guess there's a big.
Oh, because it's an odd shape, the other nail, very special.
Yeah, no. I would set up a Gmail account.
Now, here,
I'll do it tonight. Be good.
I just shut it off. Turn it on.
Fire it up. Do that.
Fire it up. Get it going. Hey, it's not fast if you look at it. No.
That's what I'm saying, it's an extra.
You better be careful, you never know what's
I like
gonna
that
be
one. I
out
like
in the road.
I like that
Hey,
one.
Matt,
Yeah.
the 550 Ford,
Yep.
have you had any problems with the door latches freezing? In certain rare occurrences, water entering the door will temperatures may cause the door handles to freeze, preventing the door latch from closing.
Why did I turn on my
Your
computer?
vehicle is
And then
eligible
that-
for
I'm gonna use it
repair.
as soon as someone does it.
Oh, okay. See your old computer, Matt? See the old laptop up there?
Oh, no.
Yes, in the garage.
I don't have internet.
Oh, but you have a phone.
That's last month.
Doesn't matter. You have a phone line.
We need to send out mail saying that they're ready to go in or do we file it?
I just got this.
Well, what happened right up there? I mean, we can let you know.
Actually, what we can do is
Do you even think
maybe
you're
some
going?
email addresses.
They don't work for lunch.
Yep.
We'll get one on the listserv for the state with anything that you need.
We need to install it.
Because you can come in and have that
90 days.
laptop or
If you
something.
get that all set up.
Look what happened. That key didn't go.
Yeah.
Just show me.
It would be like Doug used my old laptop for a long time, and all he ever did was swear.
Do you know how to use a laptop?
Right.
Okay, double checking.
My wife.
If not, your kids could probably show you.
Yeah, even the baby. She got so sick of using the, had to buy her another one because
No, what they did down at the college, they actually bought Don a keyboard with extra large keys.
Do I need this one?
I use a pencil.
At the
Yeah.
conflict of interest?
And he only uses 3 digits anyway.
You've already got a call.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Occasionally this one comes in and does a
It's
floor.
been in here since May. It's good to throw away.
No, we'll set it up real simple for you.
Did you get the computer tech people lined up for it? You know,
Hey,
No,
sorry.
I'm sorry, that was one of those things that I forgot about because this summer has been totally crazy. Into the fall,
Sandy, it's not somewhere in there.
into the fall.
I'll put that in John your book.
I've had to live with
This
God.
has been in Athens since December 20.
I will make myself a sticky note. It was Dominion, right? Yes.
We give it file. Had that for almost a year. It says we should file it. Oh. Oh.
It's just a notice of the equalization.
Oh, Matt, and
I know where to
it's
go.
Dan
And
who
then
should
there was
pay,
like
because Danny made the suggestion.
It's a census, isn't it?
Okay, I've made myself a sticky note. I will
Okay.
remember to call them now.
We don't need this again. Do you shred all this or just throw it in the trash? Where is it?
All right. Select board comments.
I was asked to research questioning about Triple T picking up trash. So I sent him an email and I asked him if they picked up trash in Athens and Grafton, with the same truck. So his response, let's see where they at. His response was, "We are not commingling Athens collection materials with other customers or town materials. They are separate routes and trucks." So that was his response from Peter.
Okay.
Triple T.
I'd heard that somebody saw them actually.
That was somebody saw him with the thing, but unless someone wants to follow the truck around to prove what he stated was wrong, then that's where that sits.
Alright. We will,
Address that.
So, this meeting,
Who's gonna follow the ring?
that's the date, we can do this like the week.
Copyright tester,
Because
yes.
I know when we had a meeting, it's the fund, about that date, it was $5,000 a year.
alright, any select board comments?
No?
Okay. Public comments on agenda, Sam?
Nope. I have one thing that's, I forgot on the board, can I bring it up now?
Sure.
We're wondering about the shoveling of the walkways up to the school. Ivor's done it in the past, and we're wondering if the select board is gonna keep that, or change, or think about it.
Well, we probably should keep them open and cleared there.
Sandy? Do you
How much
want
is it
to send
costing?
back? You want us to keep it?
It was $30 per time. And
No,
you
you
did go
guys
up,
can keep it,
if it was just the dusting, it was like 3 inches more.
or you can toss it.
So what do we wanna do about that?
Well, the ramp does need to stay open.
And the other door.
Yeah. I don't know, I mean, we have 2 employees that could do it, but they've been doing it, I don't know why we haven't been doing it. Well, because we didn't own the building.
We didn't own the building.
Then we plow the road
Yeah.
up there.
But, I mean, are they gonna have time to do it when they've got all the roads and stuff to
So
do?
last
I
thing
mean,
we
he
do,
doesn't have to do it right when he's plowing, he can keep.
No, I mean, it's not like this building down here, it's, no, somebody goes to it about once every 3 months, so. Man, we should have plenty of time to.
I wouldn't
Have you
recommend
been-
waiting till all the ice is
No,
built up.
no, but it doesn't have to be the day of the storm,
No,
it could be
it
the
doesn't.
next day when
Yeah,
there's
it
nothing
could be a day
going
or 2 days, but I wouldn't recommend like letting 3 or
on.
4.
3 feet below that.
Oh, you're no
Have
fun
you
to
been-
me.
checking the building once a week anyway.
I don't have a key.
You don't have a key.
We can't duplicate the key because it's the do not duplicate.
Does Carol's key have the duplicating?
I don't know.
Because if hers doesn't, then you
Then
could.
we could make one.
We
Oh,
could,
yeah.
we could
All of
figure,
them.
I'll figure that out, I'll work
All
on
of them are non-duplicated keys. But
There
the
should
school
be-
should have a stack of keys that they have.
Yeah, there should be at least 5 keys for that building, because when we had the building and we had the locks, the teachers had one, Elaine Beam had one, the principal, and all the select board, all the school board members had one, so unless the locks have been changed, which I don't think they have, there should be at least 4 or 5 keys for that building.
it. Well, let's look around for a key that we can duplicate. And
Darlene, you have a key.
I have a key, but it's do not duplicate.
I understand that. And it's in the office. Darlene can let you know where that key is, and you can come in to
You
here.
keep it here?
Yeah, you keep the key
I
here?
keep it on me.
Yeah, she keeps it on her,
Oh,
which is fine.
We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out between now and the next meeting here, and I'll get you a key to check
we'll let
it
you know
out.
before the snowstorm.
When's the snowstorm?
Tomorrow.
All right. So, I guess we'll have Matt take care of getting the shovels in and stuff. Anything else?